What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scattered Brilliancy. My name is Travis, and I'm going to be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 3, Episode 11. I have no clue what the name of this episode was. I knew it like 5 minutes ago, and I just forgot. Let me preface by saying that I just finished eating, so if you see like stuff in my teeth, don't be putting it down in the comments being like a douche, talking about, oh, he's got specks in his teeth. That's number one. If I belch, go ahead and just excuse me now because, I got a little bit of that going on right now and just putting that out there so there are no surprises. So as of right now in the season, we are, I guess, maybe like 3 episodes or less left. 3 episodes or less until, I get what I'm trying to say, until the final episode. I think next week's episode is going to be probably like a 2-part thing of the final decision, so not much going on in this episode. Gonna go through it really quickly. I don't really have any thoughts about anything this week. Honestly, almost didn't even want to do the video. I didn't watch it last night, so today is Wednesday, and because last night I've been neglecting have and have nots to watch this, so every now and then I gotta go back to that and watch that. Plus, I didn't feel like getting on camera last night. So to the video. Let's start off with David and Ashley. I'm just gonna go in order the way it is on my phone. I got a new phone too, so I'm trying to learn it. So David comes back from his trip from Buffalo. If you guys remember last week, David and Ashley had the falling out because David reached out to the mutual friend about trying to get to know Ashley. So he gave Ashley her space and he went to Buffalo, and so now he's back. So now we're dealing with that and the aftermath of all of that mess that went down between those two. He comes back refreshed, and he apologizes and she accepts it. Ashley says in the episode that she was able to accept this apology because it did not come with a but. It wasn't "I'm sorry, but," and it wasn't that "I'm sorry that you felt this way." There wasn't any kind of reasoning with the apology. It was just an apology, and I can totally understand that being what she was wanting the whole time. Even if I'll be, and I said I didn't have any thoughts, didn't I? I'll be willing to believe that David doesn't want it to be portrayed that he did, this thing that she thinks he did. But I think he finally realized that sometimes, you just got to apologize. You just got to take it as a loss. It is what it is. It could have been handled differently. And the best thing to do is just to apologize and move on. So that's what happened. All 3 couples, if I'm not mistaken, I think only David and Ashley met with Dr. Pepper. I like that name. Dr. Pepper. And what else happened? And the doctor actually, I felt like, was speaking a little bit of truth when she was having her one-on-one with Ashley. And pretty much what she told her is, I understand you feel like he did this thing that, hurt your feelings or whatever. But at the same time, you got to think about, if you haven't been opening up to him, he had to take it upon himself to go find, out the things that he's trying to find out because you're not telling him. And it's very possible that he's telling you the truth. So, I just think Ashley needed something to be upset about. I gave y'all my predictions last week as far as who I believe is going to stay married and who I think is going to get divorced. And my predictions are still the same for this week. Blah, 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 blah. David acknowledges he messed up. And he says at some point that he's fallen for her, which is unfortunate. But Dr. Pepper suggests that they get away. So they go to this outdoor place that's kind of like rock climbing walls and zip lining and just kind of like an outdoor course type thing, very active. And they do a lot of those little things, and they seem to be having a good time. But they're in the last week. All the couples are in their last week of the experiment, and unfortunately, it's just not enough time to get David and Ashley where they need to be. It's just not enough time to get there. So I guess on one hand, it's kind of like, well, let's just have a good time together while we still have this last week, but I would not really want to believe that either of them in their hearts truly believe that they're going to stay married to the other person. And I just hope that David does really not believe that she's going to choose to stay with him because, the signs are all there. We get the first kiss, I think, between those two, and it isn't really anything because Ashley gives him a kiss on the cheek before he does this like long jump thing. And it wasn't anything special. She just gave him the kiss, and was what it was. What I did think was interesting was they were jumping from like this high point, but they were like strapped up to the rope or whatever. And I guess the instructor said something to the effect of, "You just got to jump, and you'll land softly," or something like that. And so David, in one of his little confessionals, was like, my marriage is I think my marriage is, I'm paraphrasing, so this is probably off, and I have a burp coming up, so just excuse me. Ugh, it smells like pizza. David, in his confessional, was saying something to the effect of, "This is like my marriage, when it comes to decision day, we both just got to jump and know that we're going to land safely." Something along those lines of comparing how him and Ashley's marriage is going to this whole jumping off the cliff thing. I get it, but David, that's not y'all's situation. Y'all were jumping off that thing with a harness and ropes and stuff to prevent you from falling hard. In your marriage, that harness and those ropes is the trust, is the communication, is the affection, is the love. That's the stuff that's going to keep you from hitting the ground hard and having a safe landing. All of those types of things. That's what's going to keep y'all from falling hard. And unfortunately, y'all don't have any of that kind of stuff. So I think to compare the two, it does not work, because they just do not have what's needed to have a successful marriage, in my opinion. And that's it for David and Ashley on this episode. Sam and Neil. Neil was out of town for his family. Somebody in his family got married in Vegas. So he was out of town. They end up FaceTiming each other. And, this is when the episode could have just went awesome, but it just took a sharp left turn really quickly. While they were FaceTiming each other, I want to say, Neil asked Sam first, did she miss him? And before she answered, she asked him the same question, and he said no. Now, in the confessional, we knew that Sam was missing him because she said that she missed him. So, I was really hoping that Neil was going to say, "Yes, I'm missing you," so you can have that moment that we've been waiting to see between those two. But it was just like, Sam said no, and he said, "It's nothing to do with you. It's just, it takes a lot for me to miss people." And all of that probably went in one ear and out the other for Sam, because you could really genuinely tell that her feelings were hurt. Because I do think that she's starting to develop feelings for Neil, not necessarily falling for him or falling in love, but I definitely think that she cares for him, and she's starting to feel a way about him that she did not feel 3 weeks prior. So in her confessional, she was just like, "He doesn't deserve to talk to me." Like, I think her feelings had got the best of her, and she was just speaking out of hurt, not out of anger or anything, because it kind of hurt my feelings to see him say no like that. But, they're so quirky, it just, I was waiting for him to come back and be like, "No, I'm just kidding, I miss you," but that didn't ever happen. So, and also I wrote down that Sam even admitted that she's starting to have a crush on him, which is pretty cool, because I think Neil probably feels the same way. So, she was acting like she was done, but by the time he got home, things took a turn for the better. Who got home? She went over to his place and went up to see him, and he had all these souvenirs and little things for her. Nice little trinkets and things that are meaningful to her. She has this thing with owls, so it was a couple of owl things, and she gave him a big hug, and she cried tears of joy, which was a great thing to see on TV, because that just shows you how much Sam is doing more with her heart as far as Neil is concerned, and less with her head. And then she had a surprise for Neil and took him downstairs and showed him the wedding pictures, and he seemed really excited about it all. So all in all, that was really good. Later in the episode, they went fishing, and they had a good time and did some horseback riding and some. Did they kiss? Did somebody get a kiss? I feel like somebody got a kiss on the cheek. Yeah, somebody got a kiss on the cheek. I didn't write it down. Oh, she gave him a kiss on the cheek on the bed. So I was like, oh snap. They never mind. I'm not gonna say what I said because it was totally inappropriate. But and that's what happened with Sam and Neil. So I'm enjoying watching Sam and Neil now. Their personalities in the beginning, it took some warming up to and getting used to, but now I'm enjoying seeing the two of them. I'm enjoying seeing their progress, and I'm really hoping. Well, I pray everything happens in God's will. And if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. If it's meant to be, it's going to be. But, if I had to choose, I would hope that things work out between Sam and Neil. Honestly, that's how I feel. And finally, Trey and Vanessa. Why did I make this 10 minutes? I should not be on here this long. They're kind of frustrated about their living situation at the beginning, and this is just another example of how Vanessa kind of does this like shutdown thing and doesn't really talk to Trey when she's feeling something. Because we all know that Vanessa needs to work on her communication in this relationship, and that was just another evidence C for that. And Trey called her out on it. He talked about the fact that she always puts her head down. She doesn't want to talk about stuff, so they're not going to be able to get through things. But, Trey, I think, is a stand-up guy, and he's like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make my marriage work. So knowing that the housing situation is causing an issue between them, he plans a weekend away for the two of them. So, he does it up. He gets a car service to come pick her up, I guess, when she gets off work, to take her and the dog. He leaves like one rose and takes the rest with him. Leaves her a note, lets her know, pack a bag, we're getting away from all of this mess that we got going on. And they go to this bed and breakfast somewhere, I guess maybe in Georgia. And the original thing was to do horseback riding and to do a wine tasting. But that didn't really happen that way. They did do when she got there, she was very appreciative. He met her there with the rest of the roses and everything. And what did they do? They did the horseback riding. They did the horseback riding the next day, but unfortunately Trey ended up having an allergic reaction to something. He was like breaking out in hives. Brother looked bad. So they ended up leaving, so they didn't get a chance to do the wine tasting. So I thought that was really nice of him. I need to do something like that myself, but I can't do that now because me and my wife watched the show together, so I can't steal his idea. So I'm going to have to figure out something I can do. Weekend getaways that's probably a nice thing. I need to figure out something to do. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But that's it for this episode of Married at First Sight. We'll see what happens next week with the decisions, and we'll see if Trey and Vanessa stay together, if David and Ashley stay together, or if Neil and Sam stay together. I feel like this review was whack, and I feel like I shouldn't even put it up, but I'm going to anyway because I know a lot of y'all are waiting on it. So thank you so much for watching another episode of Scattered Brilliancy. Again, my name is Travis, and be sure that you rate, like, comment, and subscribe. And I do videos other than this, but just lately this is all I've been doing. So if there are any other things that you want me to talk about or any other shows that you think I should review, drop that down in the comments and I'll see if I can check it out and drop my thoughts on it. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. I truly do appreciate it. And tell a friend to tell someone else and let them come on over and watch these videos too. But y'all have a great evening, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace. Okay, it didn't turn off. And it's still not turning off.